I believe they have potential, and I'm in a good position where I can be patient. 40 years ago, I wasn't patient, but I can be now. And so, you look at the ROI of these websites. Let's say I put, 300 a month into a site. Let's call it 3,500 a year, and I do that for 5 years. What is that? 18,000 bucks, let's say, investment. But if that site's even earning $2,000 a month with the sale value, that's a very good return on the investment. And that's fairly slow growth. I mean, that's 5 years. So I think, I believe, I've seen the tremendous return on investment with this. So I definitely look at it that way. The sites that I do keep around, I see that there's potential. It's a niche I think has potential. It's a niche that I like. I tend to choose niches I have an interest in. And so it's something I'll continue working on and want to continue working on. It's just sometimes, some months I just don't really have the time to really go at it hammer and tongs. But yeah, I think the return on investment potential is always good. The thing is, the bigger part of the question, though, is we're always going to buy content that is going to lose us money, because not every piece is going to be a winner. But I think once you've done it as long as we both have, and we've ordered and published so much content, the winners are going to make up for the losers. And that's the goal. And you just hope that keeps happening more and more. And so that's why I take the gamble and buy all the content.
Awesome. Very well said again. I think I run across folks that try to calculate the ROI per article sometimes to justify the spend. And I see where they're coming from, but when you average it out, right, you're going to have some big winners that you didn't even think were going to show up. And then it makes up for the difference. So do you run those sort of numbers where you're like, each article is worth X amount, and then, yeah, well, you're laughing. So
Yeah, I do sometimes. More just because I think it makes for interesting content for Fatstacks, but then I'll do it and I'll actually find it really super helpful in terms of seeing where I'm at. One number that I came up with, what I thought was really interesting, was sort of an average page views per month I needed to break even. I assumed an average cost per article, and then revenue per thousand, and then how many page views I needed. And that was an interesting benchmark. And then I could look in Google Analytics and see, well, how many articles out of the 3,300 are actually hitting that number of page views per month? And it wasn't even 50%. Right? It was smaller than 50%. So really, like, less than half of my articles are actually really generating any kind of decent revenue or profits. But the ones that do, they're doing it quite well. So yeah, I think that kind of stuff is pretty interesting. But I don't do it all that often. I just do it once in a while. I'll do a big analysis just kind of for fun and check it out. I'm not a real close tracker. I don't track a lot of stuff. It's probably to my detriment for sure. Just I couldn't be bothered to. I'm not really a super technical or analytical person. I'm kind of a big picture, just sort of, let's just rip that stuff out and just see what happens and let the chips fall as they may, and hope for the best. And I'm doing my best, and I'm based on what's worked, and see what happens.
very cool. And I think like you came back to a point that I think is really critical. Like you have data to look at on the other side. So a lot of times people, we need to do this, right? You have to make an assumption, do something, get the feedback, do the feedback loop. So you have data where you can check and you're like, oh, it looks like we have a 50% or 500 hit rate here. And we can just assume that moving forward. Like I said, you have enough data where you can actually like make some real conclusions. So very cool.